It's just absolutely insane that 2 years into this, we all know that you're committing genocide. The only people who won't accept that it's a genocide are Israelis. And you know what? I think that you know it's a genocide, Jonathan. I think you just support it. You want the genocide.
Abby, let me just jump in there.
American journalist Abby Martin, who has been doing a great job advocating for the Palestinians, is up against Jonathan the Crook Conricus in a heated debate on Israel and Palestine. It's been over 2 years since Israel's genocide on Gaza began, and the evil Israeli narrative, unlike the rest of the world, has not changed for 1 second. Let's take a look.
Israel is the only country that has been forced to provide food and fuel to its enemy. If you can give me any other example in modern history of a combating side that is forced to feed...
It's the law. When you're illegally besieging...
No, it's not the law. It's not the law that you feed your enemy.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not the law. It is not the law. It is not the law.
Hang on. I'll let Jonathan, you have a good long stretch
Jonathan,
there.
you've been talking
let
endlessly.
Abby now respond without interrupting her. Abby.
I haven't interrupted at all, just to be clear.
Okay, of course, because you've just been droning on and on with the most outrageous propaganda possible, basically saying, oh, they say that this many kids died of starvation, but really, that's a lie. We've seen the photos, Jonathan. It's skin and bones. It's like concentration camp victims coming out of the Holocaust. Do you know that we see this? I know that Israel's like to control the narrative with the billions of dollars with Hasbro propaganda, but we see the photos of starving children. We see doctors' testimonies saying baby formula was seized out of their bags. Baby formula. Why are you punishing babies? We know what the situation on the ground. Peanut butter was told to doctors that it was a luxury and stolen out of their bags, Jonathan. For the last 2 years, we've been told, not even talking about the siege before where calories were counted, given to Palestinians before October 7th, but just since October 7th, we've been told that there's no siege, there's no famine, that aid is not being prevented from being delivered, right? Well, we just saw an entire naval fleet committed an act of piracy and kidnapping of 500 activists illegally in international waters that were trying to bring baby formula and food to starving Palestinians. We've seen a mercenary force unload a barrage of bullets and kill more Palestinians begging for bread than civilians died on October 7th. So while people like you, these hand-picked spokespeople with American or Swedish accents, come and speak to Western audiences and placate us and tell us lies, we know what Israeli society thinks and believes, Jonathan. We see the news. I see Israeli Channel 12. I see the IDF reports. Of course I do. I see them coming out saying, guess what? Everyone left in Gaza City, the 250,000 people left, are going to be treated as terrorists and killed. Jonathan, I just let you speak forever. Jonathan,
I mean,
Jonathan, let me finish. Jonathan, let me finish.
So either stop saying my name.
You will be remembered no differently than the officers of the Third Reich.
I think Jonathan got his war mixed with his genocide, and his own words right there is evidence that he and his people see all Palestinians as, I quote, the enemy. Abby is spot on. This is a genocide and an occupation. Israel controls the aid, the skies and the water. Nothing comes in and nothing goes out without their permission. International law mandates the parties in armed conflict to allow humanitarian aid for civilians. Israel took that down to the wire, and as a result, we now see a famine. And if there was no starvation, as this idiot suggests, then why is immediate aid, including food, included in Trump's peace plan?
Well, what's your response to the rest of what I said, Jonathan? So you don't want to be compared to a Nazi officer.
I'll gladly tell you.
Why would you compare
in the beginning?
Abby, let me just jump in there.
I mean, you're so out of bounds.
Hang on, Jonathan. Abby, out of interest, why would you think that anybody watching this, when they hear you tell a Jewish man that he's basically a Nazi, who
the grandchild of a Holocaust survivor, by the way, whose grandfather's family was murdered.
That is a winning point to make. Why would you not think in that moment, a lot of viewers go, what the hell are you talking about? Why would you be so offensive?
Well, it's not offensive at all. It's not offensive at all. If you want to not be compared to Nazis, stop acting like Nazis. It's very simple. Stop doing what Nazis did and stop treating Palestinians like Jews in concentration camps, Jonathan.
You are in your little eco bubble. I think you're consumed by hatred.
No, you are, my friend. The world has woken up, my friend. The world has woken up. No one believes your lies anymore.
No, it hasn't.
You're pathetic.
And I don't think that we're friends.
Propagandist.
I don't think that we're friends.
You're an absolutely pathetic propagandist, and no one believes you.
When you in the beginning, when Piers gave you a long lifeline.
Israel's on a shelf life, my friend. Zionism has a shelf life.
why does Hamas have your legitimacy in your eyes? Why should Hamas even hold weapons? And you fumbled and stumbled, and you couldn't bring yourself to say, well, actually, no, Hamas shouldn't have weapons because they're bloody highness terrorists. That's the response that I would,
I think
it makes
Israel
sense for a person like you to say.
Jonathan.
But you couldn't bring yourself to say it. Why? Because you sympathize with them.
Of course, I'm not
because
going to say
you believe that their resistance is legitimate. You believe, I'm sure, that Israel is very annoying and that we shouldn't exist where we are.
I believe in the law, Jonathan. I believe in the law.
Yeah, no, you don't believe in the law. You don't believe in the law. You believe that we don't have a right to exist in our homeland.
I want Israel to.
I've read some parts of your books.
Right.
I've seen what you've done in Gaza. You've been propagating for Hamas.
Israel should follow the law, Piers. Very simple. The solution is Israel to follow the law.
I think
you couldn't even bring yourself to say
should follow the law.
Hamas shouldn't have weapons.
Everyone should follow the law.
Piers is an absolute disgrace. He's defended Jonathan throughout this interview, and now clearly you can see he's shown more empathy towards Jonathan when Abby calls him a Nazi. Abby responds in an excellent manner by saying, well, if you don't want to be compared to Nazis, then stop acting like Nazis. When Abby says the world has woken up, Jonathan responds with, no, they haven't. Guys, it's all in the fine print. When Jonathan talks about the world not waking up, he's not referring to us, he's referring to the sleeping governments of the West, allowing them to do what they want. 2 years and this sicko hasn't changed at all.
Why should Hamas have any rights to anything, frankly?
Well, Hamas already has said many, many times that they would completely relinquish governing authority. They have already said that they
But why should they keep their arms, though?
Gaza
That's the
Strip.
point.
That's not enough.
But why keep their arms?
Wait, why would they give up their arms without, hold on, why would they give up their arms without any sort of assurance for national statehood or sovereignty? Why would they do that, Piers? Why would you give up a right, a legally enshrined right to armed resistance to an illegal besiegement and occupation without any sort of assurances or promises of statehood?
Well, again, I'll come to Jonathan, and I will come to you, Jonathan, but I would argue that when you commit a terrorist act of that magnitude, then you abrogate all your rights to demand anything. And the Israeli government position...
Okay, so why is the logic not applied to the IDF?
Well, I'll come to Jonathan for that question in a moment, but I'm just curious why you would think that Hamas has any rights about any of this. I mean, surely when you do what they did on October the 7th 2 years ago, in that moment, you surrender your right to anything. You can ask for it, but you don't have any rights left. I mean, you're basically saying, we are a despicable terror group, we're committing this outrage, and we're going to kidnap and kill and maim and do all the rest of it, but at the end of it, we want rights to demand things. That's not really how it works with terror groups.
Well, that's exactly what Israel's doing. For the last 2 years, we've been seeing the most bloody genocide on steroids. This is Israel for who it is. This is their true nature and character. So why on earth do they get the right to make concessions? They are a rogue maniac state, killing all of their neighbors, bombing all of their neighbors. They need to be stopped. They need to be stopped. Why do they have any rights to demand concessions for the victims of the genocide that they're perpetrating, Piers?
Okay.
Why?
Abby makes a great point. Hamas have said that they would give up authority, and why would they give up all arms without any assurance of statehood? Which makes absolute sense. The only somewhat defense the Palestinians have is Hamas. I don't see anyone else physically on the ground fighting for them. Whilst Israel has the Green Berets, they have the UK sending them fighter jet parts. Germany sent them air defense and communication equipment. Even India jumped in supplying Israel with rockets, drones and missiles, whilst the Palestinians have nothing. Anyway guys, enough of this crook. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Support me by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all on the next video. Peace out.